All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here, and it is another day in the markets, planet Earth, being alive, whatever you want to call it. It is, I was about to say February. What is going on, man? It is May 17th. Could you imagine if it was February? I miss February. Some fun stuff happened in February, but February is over now. And February was the epic morning open. I think you guys remember, like February 15th, where I got a text message and I started pausing on all my words. And the clip on Twitter was when your girl breaks up with you during the market open. Oh man, that was epic. That was so epic. That was epic. It was definitely a text from a girl. It wasn't a breakup, but it was definitely a text. No other text could make you like pause so deeply. And we were talking about Tesla, and Tesla's the conversation today as well. Jeff, what's up? Johnny, what's up? Mr. Russo, Emmanuel, what's up? Thank you for being here. Kane, Zo Cold, Midwest, Eeyore was right. Broccoli Bob, Philip the Rizzo, Riz King, Jared, Joseph, Geis, what's good? Respectable individuals. What is up? Guys, always going to be respectful to you, if you know what I mean. Her tweet cat, good morning. When you work a lot, you lose track of time. That is also true. You lose track of time. I had a crazy dream last night, bro. I had a crazy dream. I think I took some extra melatonin last night. Netherlands is in the building. That's what I'm talking about. Lee Martin, what's up? That dream, bro, I can't even explain how. I'm trying to remember and piece it together right now. It was like, it was trying to go somewhere, and I can't even talk about it. It was a crazy dream. I woke up like, wow, that was a crazy dream. Chris is in Sofi. That is correct. So let's get into the charts right now. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Christopher Patel is officially in Sofi. Yesterday on the Finance Junkies podcast, which I hope you guys are enjoying, we crossed 400 people again for the second day in a row. So starting off this week strong. We talked about it. And his logic was essentially that a lot of the claims from the Wedbush analysts were dubious at best. The guy who brought the price target down to 250. The gap profitability is really around the corner for SoFi. The valuation is stupid at $5 billion. The growth at 40% over year is great, right? There's a massive bull case, and the only thing he was scared about was the delinquencies on loans, and that's not as much of a concern anymore, right? And so because that's not that much of a concern, and he's actually interested in, what the stock can do, he bought the company, and there you go. So it's going to be interesting. He might join SoFi Weekly a lot more now to help us find topics about this bank. It's going to turn into FinTech Friday because, again, we don't have that much stuff to talk about when it comes to SoFi. With Palantir, it's like we can't run out of stuff to talk about. Carp had a new interview. Guys, I'm getting to the point where like there's just so many videos to make on this company. It's just so exciting. It's one of those things where, yeah, it's not Tesla, but in terms of the media coverage, there's plenty to talk about. If you're a little creative, you can figure out video ideas on Palantir. And I like talking about Palantir. I mean, it's just fun. It's better than talking about all the other companies. And it's more interesting. You come up with those ideas to make that content. So Palantir 954 up 0.74%. Let's go to SoFi. SoFi is up 1.16%, 4815 in the pre-market. We got 6 minutes to the market open. We'll have a special guest joining us today as well. And they'll join us in a little bit, and we will see here. Did he buy one share? What does long SoFi mean? So I don't want to disclose his exact position. I do know his position, but he's got a decent amount of money in there. It's more than one share. I'll say that. He's also, he bought calls, so he's long dated leaps for SoFi. At this time, Palantir is definitely more exciting than Tesla. Yeah, man. The other thing people have to remember about Tesla, well, again, look, Tesla with Optimus, with Elon, with Twitter, with FSD, Tesla will always be exciting. The problem is Tesla's a 500-something billion company, 527. So what makes a stock exciting is the upwards momentum on it. And when the stock's already 500 billion, you got to do a lot in these economic times to get to $1 trillion. Whereas Palantir at 16, 17, what's Palantir right now? 20 billion? Palantir at 20 billion, it's riding it up to that 100 billion, riding it up from 9 to 45. It's going to be a lot more exciting to get there. Nasdaq at 12,000. By the way, I did my deep dive on Palantir yesterday. I'm going to put this in the chat, dailypalantir.com/subscribe. If you want to subscribe to the newsletter, please subscribe to that. That's where you'll get my deep dives for Palantir. So that one came out yesterday. I'm going to publish it as an independent article on dailypalantir.com today as well. But the actual deep dive was published, and I had a week to sit with Q1 earnings, and I had some thoughts that I had to give after sitting with it for so long. Okay, we got a special guest in the house, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to help me open up the market. The Berg. What's up, bro?
What's up, my man? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. My volume's okay?
Your volume is good. So I guess let me start off with this question. We got 4 minutes to the market open. How are you feeling about so far what we've had this week? We've got NASDAQ at 12,000, S&P still at 411. Google is mooning. I mean, does any of this make sense to you? NVIDIA's at 292, or is it just par the course?
Yeah. Well, Google we kind of called a while ago. Like I called Google at 95, 96. I started buying earlier. You called it as well. Yep. I remember we were both on the same page.
Yep.
And you are one of the reason I want to do this live is because we had so much fun yesterday, but you were talking about AI. So I was like, yo, I got to come into the conversation. People are so behind. If you weren't using ChatGPT, you were behind. But now if you're not stacking Bard and ChatGPT, you're behind. And if you're not stacking Bard, ChatGPT with Grammarly and Quill, you are fucked. You're allowed to curse. It's past 7 seconds.
100%. No, you're allowed.
So the name of the game right now is to use all these tools. Bard, people thought Google was dead. Google is far from dead. But Bing is not this Google killer with ChatGPT because ChatGPT has so many limitations. For search engines, Bard wins ChatGPT or Bing all day, in my opinion. So yeah, this makes sense. This is an AI revolution. NVIDIA doesn't make sense to me with the crazy PE, but I'm not hating. Like, I'm not shorting them yet either. But yeah, Google makes sense to me. Did you see their presentation?
Yeah, I saw it. It was pretty insane. It was pretty wild.
They smacked it. 99% of everything is AI, AI, AI. I mean, they're killing it right now, and it's not going to stop. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and you know the thing, I want to get your take on this, and we'll expand on it after the market open. For publishers, this is a big deal, right? Because I saw a take yesterday from Crystal and Sagar on Breaking Points, and they were just like, if Google's going to give you the answer, they don't give a shit about the publisher. They might not pay the publisher anymore, right? Because they're going to get the information for free. And if the publisher doesn't want to give the information, they'll just get it from someone else. So if traffic doesn't go to independent blogs or websites that are getting 20, 30 million hits a month, they only go to the New York Times, Washington Post, because those are brand names, because people just get the answer from the AI, it's going to decimate a lot of journalism. And I don't know what implications that has for society, but...
So my answer is this. There's going to be a form of monetization. I heard what you said, that there's going to be a form of monetization and compensation, and I believe that there is. In terms of journalism dying, it's not going to happen. Like, you're not just going to get killed, right? Like, even your YouTube videos, I'm sure you try to do AI generated. It doesn't work like that. It's not that. Yeah. It's a tool. Just like your PC is a tool, just like your microphone is a tool, it amplifies your own personal skills. At this particular point in time, ChatGPT and Bard, even put together, is not as eloquent as the best writers. It's not.
That is correct. That is correct.
And you need to stack it with several AIs to make it as good as, which I'm able to do. And if you use the tools, you're good. So I don't think that the writers are going to go anywhere. It's going to be adaptation, and it's going to be things different. God bless you.
Thank you.
Just like mechanics. The mechanics of today is not the mechanics that they were, 10 years ago, as well as the software engineers and things like this. So things just have to adapt and change. But you need the information, the infrastructure. You need the publications, like you said.
Yeah, I agree. And in some way, they're either going to make money from Google in some way, either they're going to pay them for it, or Google's just going to have to give them some traffic.
1,000,000%, broski.
Got to come somewhere. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is May 17, 2023. I'm here today with a friend, and everything in life is better when you're doing it with someone else. Adam, thank you for being here. The stock market is now open. Wake your ass up. Here we go. Microsoft at 312, up 0.52%. Google at 120. That is, I remember my dad bought it at 115 back in June 2022, so he's finally starting to break even on that. S&P 412, Palantir 952, Wejo at 36 cents, Sofi 476, just down there. Nubank 607, Nasdaq 12,392. I don't think we've seen Nasdaq above 12,200 in a couple of months now. It hit 12,401 in pre-market, so that's awesome. for the indices. Nvidia $5 away from 300. Capital One 92, still benefiting from the Warren Buffett pump. Pac West, a regional, is up 10.3%. Tesla getting closer to 170 off that Investor Day. Investor Day not giving it the pump that I would think it would, and probably because people are still have a lot of concerns about a lot of things going on. We'll talk about Tesla in a little bit. Open Door $2.06, Meta $2.38, Amazon $1.15, Spotify $1.47, Disney $90, almost falling below $90, Robinhood $8.37, ARK $37, Truist up 2.72%, another regional. Western Alliance up 10.95%, another regional. SMCI, this is a Chris pick, nearing 150, Snowflake 172, nearing 180. SLG at 20. This was down 6% last night. And Enphase not getting any benefit. It was at 170 last week, but right back down to 160. Apple being flat at around 173, 171. All right, Adam, let's talk about the Tesla Investor Day. What were your biggest takeaways from that?
I'll be honest, I didn't get a chance to watch it. Juggling two kids. It's
You have
so
two?
hard.
I thought you had one.
No, I have one 19 months, and we have something called Irish twins. So they're within like 2 years. And I have a baby girl. She's only 2 weeks old. So
Wait, you just had a baby girl? How did I not know this?
I don't know.
Anybody? Wow.
Yeah, hence why I started walking away from YouTube a little bit, and or a lot. I'm still doing my stocks, but like crypto, I completely like walked away from right now. And so I do the 4 o'clock feedings, I do the 7 o'clock feedings, and then I wake my son up at 7:45. I'm what you call a super active dad, because I didn't grow up with a pop, so I want to give my kids as much love as possible. But yeah, so I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Oh my God. Okay, well let me hit you with this. Elon says he's considering to do advertising. Do you think that would be good for Tesla instead of cutting their margins to generate demand for the product?
I think advertising never hurts. In general, he was able to get away with it for so long, but it gets to a point where you could only get, talent only works so far, right? And then you need hard work to match the talent. For example, like when it comes to sports. So, the skills of Elon Musk only go so far. You need some advertising. So before the advertising was the Tesla itself was the advertising. Maybe he's trying to appease people. He made a lot of people angry with Twitter, a lot of people. And now that he hired a CEO for Twitter, he needs to appease people. So he's trying to make people happy. We'll see what's going to happen. And especially he needs to make the people happy. And I hate to say this, those big YouTubers, right? Like, I'm not even going to mention their names. Big YouTubers that are tight and noticeably aggravated. I mean, everyone sees this. Like, Karp knows about you for sure. Karp 100% knows about Amit, Shyam and all of them, and a couple of other people. So Elon knows who's the big YouTuber supporters. Is the freest promotion ever. Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, Meet Kevin even asked him a question. I saw some video from Faraz. So advertising can't hurt. Like, it can't hurt. You spend some money, you appease people. Just appeasing people for a quarter is going to help at the very, very least. And I think he's trying to make a 180, to go back into Tesla and be like, guys, I'm here. I was away for a while. I'm here now. And I'm sure he's going to use the money to advertise on Twitter.
Well, that's what he's saying. He was saying it's so ironic that Twitter makes money off advertising, but we don't do advertising. All right, let's transition to this. If you're not in the United States, this is still obviously very important. We have a debt ceiling coming up. The Republicans and Democrats have to negotiate to find some middle ground. If they don't do that, the economy and the government's going to shut down, which has global implications. So let's see what House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has to say on solving this issue.
Speaker of the House, California Representative Kevin McCarthy. It's been great to have you on. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. But it was noted that I think yesterday morning you sounded pretty pessimistic, and it was a real change in tone after the meeting. What happened exactly? Can you give us any insight into that?
Well, the difference is our meetings before were staffers of the 4 leaders, and there was no time that we were going to get an agreement continuing that way. What we really have to do is what every time before was able to do. The president should appoint either himself or people from his administration to negotiate directly with myself, something that Mitch McConnell has said, something that President Trump did with Nancy Pelosi, with Bush and Obama did before. That is a structure that could actually find a way that we can come to fruition. The challenge here is the president waited 104 days till he came to this conclusion. Look, I went in February 1st. I said, no new taxes and no clean debt ceiling, but everything else is on the table. I want to be reasonable. I want to be sensible, but more importantly, we want to be responsible. And he ignored us, said we couldn't have a negotiations. Now is the final time that he finally admitted we're going to negotiate, and we have a structure to negotiate. The problem is the timeline is very short, but Republicans are the only one who have passed a bill to limit, save, and grow, to raise the debt ceiling and actually make the economy stronger.
All right, Adam, what do you think? Do we get an increased debt ceiling? Do they figure this out, or is it more
this is
hoopla?
no, bro. 100% this is gonna be figured out. This is so freaking stupid. Debt ceiling started past World War II. 100 times we raised debt ceiling. 100 times, approximately, guys. 100 times. The debt ceiling is just another negotiations between both parties, who's absolutely fucking us. No Vaseline, the American people. The funniest thing is, this is money that's needed to pay old debt, not new debt. And it's an evolving thing. What I hate is both parties, but more specifically Democrats of the last 4 years. But I'll blame both parties over decades, right? They keep trying to pass anything, and then they put in a million other things that have nothing to do with the specific thing that they want to do. Like if they want to increase the debt ceiling, they're going to throw in some save the environment and immigration and just nonsense, sensitivity training. Bro, raise the debt ceiling. But everything's being used for negotiation tactics. It's crazy. But yes, 100% they will raise the debt ceiling. I can tell you why.
Why?
Because if they don't raise the debt ceiling, we're going to get downgraded. And if we get downgraded, the people who are making the laws are the people that are going to hurt the most, because they're going to get hurt the most. It's absolutely crazy. Amit, they're trying to pass the law for, remember they wanted to hire all these IRS agents, remember?
Like 70,000, yeah.
Yep, and remember how they said nobody making under 400,000 is going to be affected, something like that, right?
Yep.
So that was the number. Why is it 400,000? Where's the number 400,000? Because 400,000 is the threshold of how much all the senators and the House of Representatives, all of these high-level politicians are making.
They end up making, yeah.
So it's funny. The people that are making the laws are the people making the laws for themselves.
This is why the older I've gotten, the more I've been like, politics is not even interesting to me. It's just like, I want to go make my own money, do my own thing, because you can't trust that AOC or, Elizabeth Warren have your best intentions in mind, right?
Bro, and you're getting so much better. Like, you started your journey. I think a lot of people get this wrong, and I see some criticism sometimes on your channel by other channels, and I think people are getting this wrong. Like, Ahmed is bringing everybody on a journey. He came out and said, like, yo, guys, I'm learning this. I think he was like 24 at the time, if I'm not mistaken, when you started your channel. Yeah. He's like, bro, I'm learning this, and as I'm going to go along, you're on my journey, He's like Alex Karp. He has his theory, he has his hypothesis, he has this, right? Like this, and you guys are along on the ride, and he's learning every single day, right? Like every day
I think that's
better.
What people appreciate, yeah, because I can't fake saying I'm some stock guru, some finance guy. Like, I mean, I didn't know what fucking RSI was until like 8 months ago, right? And I had to learn it, and then when I learn it and I talk about it on camera, people also hate to admit they didn't really know what it was, And so it's just a fun thing, all of us together. But when I learn it, then I can talk about it decently because I have some good communication skills, and then you keep going from there.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you?
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say shout out to Chris, man. Chris knows a lot more than everybody gave him credit for. I mean, I'm learning it too. Like, I never discredited him. Like, he was just neutral, right? I didn't know him, but as I talk to him more and I see him, he makes a lot really good plays.
Chris got this one right. He called it at $4. Then he got this one right at $70. Then he got this one right at $80. And then he got this one right. Obviously, a lot of people got this one right at $88. And every time, the thing is, I've been friends with Chris, personally for the past year. Every time he called out one of these things, he texted me. He's like, Amit, SMCI, Amit, Weight Watchers, Amit. And he's sending me all his due diligence, sending me pages and pages of shit. And I'm just like, whatever. And so this time on Truist, I made him sit down with me for 5 hours on a Zoom and explain it to me. And I was like, oh, this makes sense. I'm going to take a chance on this, right?
So, yeah, 100%. So he's been calling. I mean, I'm not this friendly with him, but I'm not as friendly with you, right? I don't talk to him on a daily basis. I do have his number. I called him. Really smart guy. And he's been making good picks. I just didn't realize he's making these good picks, except for Meta, right? But he's not emotional. That's good. I like Truist. As well. Like, I did my research. I'm in Truist as well. I bought a position on it. I think I got like 18 grand in it, and I bought for my son as well, his account. I am actually waiting. It might drop more, but it's really close. It's 10% off of 52-week lows. It might not drop. I don't know, but
I mean,
think
bro, the chart on it is just, it gets me every time. The last
it doesn't
time,
deserve it.
The last time it was at this level was COVID and then 2016. So you talk about 3 times in the past 8 years it got to this level. The fair value was fucking 57 when it was at 48 by analysts, and pretty decent analysts. You know, so it's like it just needs to revert back to the mean, and I think there's a decent upside there. So
and a lot of people, a lot of people are not giving it a lot of credit. They're putting it in the category of regional.
It's the 6th largest bank in the United States by far. You know,
but it's considered a super regional, and a super regional is basically a regional that's as big as a non-regional, but it's still considered regional because of the location, essentially.
Right.
But they make a shit ton of money from their insurance business, and it's so funny. Jamie Dimon was talking the other day, and I'm sorry, Stanley Druckenmiller, I pronounce it always wrong. Stanley was talking, right, and he was saying that banks, 43% of their loans, of their assets, is for commercial real estate loans.
Yep.
And he says commercial real estate is going to get shellacked soon because, okay, but if you look at Truist, only around 8.5% are exposed to this scary thing that Stan is talking about. And if Stan is focusing on this specific big bad wolf of the commercial real estate, well, then Truist might be safe, and they make a lot of money with their insurance company, which they just sold, I think, 20% off, which brings in funds. So now they have liquidity.
The Fed cuts rates, and if they do it this year, which I don't know if they will, but if they do it this year, at least they pause. A lot of these regionals, a lot of banks in general are going to do well. So
100%.
Now, what do you think about Palantir? You were with me when we saw this bad boy run up past 960. It has maintained 950 for almost 2 weeks. I did not expect that. What are your thoughts post earnings on the price action of the stock?
So I have, I'm very happy that it's holding. I would have liked it to be above $10. I'm happy that it is holding. And I have a feeling something has to do with Kathy and maybe buying more on the back end. My theory is commercial is growing. Everybody's focusing on commercial, and rightfully so. However, I do believe that government contracts are going to come in as well, both domestically and abroad. And the reason why I'm saying this is because of exactly what's happening right now. It's on-the-job training, what's happening in Ukraine. I follow what's happening in Ukraine and Russia. If anybody doesn't know, I'm like Soviet descent. So I'm a little closer to home about this. And the offensive that Russia did for the last 9 months or so, now there's a counteroffensive in Ukraine. And Russia, on Russian media, at first they didn't mention it, but now they're literally mentioning Palantir or a third-party AI company that's helping them. Well, yeah, I mentioned this before. I think we did a live before, and there was a high-ranking official on the ground. So I guess he would be a captain or a lieutenant, right? Like not a general, but somewhere like high-ranking. And he was on Russian television, and he was speaking in Russian. I speak Russian. And the woman says, hey, why are the Ukrainians moving village to village and we're moving meter to meter? Essentially, why are they making big gains and we're making small gains? And she says, with all due respect, I don't understand. I'm not a military person. And this was a while ago, probably a year back. And he says, look, besides for us fighting not just Ukraine, but the strength of NATO, supporting them, we're also fighting against technology. And he says they have a company that tells them exactly where they should be and where they shouldn't be. So he's like, if we're going north, they're going to go south. And if we're going north, they'll know the exact time to break our lines in the middle to separate both of our, armies. And he's like, it's very difficult to counterbalance that. He literally said that. I'm paraphrasing, but he did say that. And then
you're saying Russia absolutely knows about Palantir. They know
100%, without a doubt, because besides for articles, literally this guy, I can find you the interview eventually. I think I even made a video on it. Literally the guy said, he's like, there is a third-party company. Before, they said that there's actually also a Chinese article from China that says that Ukraine is being aided by an artificial intelligence third-party American company that is, and it was from university in China. This is China publicized this. This is a Chinese article. And that's the way that's one of the reasons why Ukraine is able to survive. And I can tell you one other thing. So there's a lot of people that have hate one way or the other. So let's just think logical. Ukraine was supposed to fall in 3 days. This is a fact. This is what every single person was saying. 3 days, every analyst. Ukraine survived. Ukraine was supposed to fall another dozen times this entire time. But not only are they surviving, they're holding their ground and they're taking ground back. So in a couple of days, they took back what weeks of Russia taking, and the full counteroffensive didn't start yet. So we're acknowledging that Palantir is in fact working. Russia is acknowledging that there is a company called Palantir. There are Russian articles literally calling out Palantir. They say Palantir in Russian language. And China called out Palantir. So we know that Palantir is there. Like, it's a fact. Everyone's recognizing it. And, they're complaining about this when they're doing interviews, live interviews, that they know exactly where we are, where we're not, where to be, and where not to be. What's the optimized position to attack, and what's the optimized position to avoid. So I believe after this, and that's why Karp says, hey, invest 5% into software that actually works. Why is he saying this? Because he's going to show the world Palantir works. Now, Ukraine right now supposedly didn't even start the counteroffensive. This is like a pre-counteroffensive. And they're whooping ass right now in Bakhmut. Like, they're taking back a lot of land. And the way they're doing this is coordinating attacks between armored vehicles and tanks, drones, air support, so on and so forth. They think they took down 2 fighter jets and 1 helicopter, or 2 helicopters, 1 fighter jet. And they also taking down Russia's supersonic missiles called Dagger missiles, which were supposedly unstoppable. And they're being able to take them down with American surface-to-air missile system, Patriot system, if I'm not mistaken. So he's literally telling people, listen, guys, we are working. And if Ukraine wins, and I think in 2024, it's not going to be Ukraine wins or Russia wins. Trump is going to come in, and he's going to negotiate a truce that's going to work for both parties. This is what I think is going to happen. He's going to tell Putin, listen, what do you need to save face so you don't look bad in front of your people? Putin's going to say, I need minimum this. He's then going to go up to Zelensky, and he's going to be like, bro, I'm cutting off all fucking funding, which means NATO is cutting off all fucking funding. We're going to make it so that you don't look bad, and you guys are going to broker this. And this is exactly how it's going to end. Putin's going to say, we won. Zelensky's going to say, we won. And that's how it's going to end. That's my personal opinion. Any president's going to do the same. But probably Trump is one of the few that actually has the balls to do it. So that's my answer about Palantir. And I think that they're going to make a lot of money with government contracts here and abroad. And he's setting it up.
So having said that, and I wrote this in my deep dive yesterday, I'm assuming this 18% year over year thing for revenue, you think is no way. Like, it's going to come in at least 20%, and you think we're sandbagging. Given if management is saying this AIP demand is ridiculous, and then you got these government deals as you're talking about, and then we still got NHS to factor in, I think they're sandbagging just because they don't want to raise expectations, just like they did for Q1 revenue. So
I'm a little worried about the next specific quarter. Because where's the money going to come from? I'm also scared of, I think Treasuries is holding up, but Treasuries right now is paying less than they did before. And even a 1% difference in Treasuries makes a huge difference on 1.5 billion, 1.6 billion. That's like what, $16 million? No.
Yep.
A lot of money. So automatically they have to make more money in order to accommodate that gap profitability. What they really need to make those numbers work this specific coming quarter is they need NHS landed, or they need a lot of money from that new $900 million Space Force contract, things like that. If not, a lot of people are going to get their hope that the price goes back and be able to buy. But you never know what's going to happen. There's so many contracts that are not being mentioned. They're really quiet about their contracts last quarter. And we'll see.
And that's, I think if AIP demand hits up by Q4, then I think Q2 I'm expecting to be kind of shitty, to be honest, because they guided like that, and I expect them to guide with 0 revenue growth quarter for quarter. But if by Q4 all those things start adding up and those hundreds of conversations move from beta in the AIP to actual, I think we smash revenue growth this year. I don't know if it's 24, 25%, but it's not 18%. I don't think that sounds like profitability in 2025 to me. That just sounds fake.
So the AIP, I'm not taking into account at all. You're right, 100%. There's huge demand for this, and you could see it. Like, if you just do Google Trends and search AI, not ChatGPT, not Bard, just search AI. It is the same hype for AI as Bitcoin was in 2017. You could check it. They're literally peaked together. So there is so much hype behind this. And just look at Twitter, right? And first of all, I never realized Twitter is an echo chamber like YouTube, like the same influencers, because everyone's going to say the same thing. ChatGPT is dead. You have to be using Bard.
Oh my God, you've seen these threads, right? It's like Google just killed ChatGPT. Here's what happened. A million views. I'm like, oh my God.
I just realized literally that is what's happening. Literally, I just realized that. Don't do past day, do past 5 or something, whatever, 5 years.
Or 5 years. Let me do 5
No,
years.
yeah, 5 years.
Look at that. So the red is Bitcoin, everybody. So this is 2021. This is when the price was around 50, 60 grand. Or no, about 40 grand. Price got to 60 grand around November. And then this is AI.
Right? Is that not crazy? Bro, that's insane. Like, people are not realizing how big AI is, and we're just beginning. Look, I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over again. You don't need to do much about AI. Microsoft and Google or Alphabet are going to be doing all the work for you. Everyone's going to piggyback off of Microsoft and Google. You think Microsoft is dead? No. They're going to spend tens of billions, and Google's going to counter with tens of billions. They will both prosper. All these little companies are going to, die away for the most part or get accumulated. And then you have Palantir that's not going to get accumulated because they're not going to sell. They're big enough and have enough money that they don't need funding. And they're making a program for businesses. I asked Bard the same thing I asked ChatGPT. Is Palantir AIP as revolutionary for business and military as you guys are for everyday use? And both of them said the same thing. Yes. So, I mean, what else do you guys need? AIP is the next big thing. It's going to freaking take over everything.
Going to your point, this was a great comment I got on a video I did yesterday. The guy said, execution of the sales team is entirely different now that ChatGPT has gone mainstream. Now the whole world is curious what language learning models are like, being that Palantir sells an expensive product that involves a company's IT department. The sales cycle is probably 1 to 2 years before ChatGPT now, and probably 6 to 8 months with 7 to 8 follow-up calls. Now with GPT going mainstream, they probably get appointments in one call. And this is, I think, what Karp was talking about. He's saying the demand is greater than what I've seen in 20 years because the whole world, as what you're saying, Microsoft, Google are doing all the work. They're doing the marketing for AI. And so when a salesperson calls, people know what AI is. And they're like, all right, how can we implement that? I mean, if you call me and you tell me how can you can put AI to supercharge my YouTube channel, I'm just like, I'm really interested. Or my startup, I'm really interested. I'm going to take the call. Even if I don't buy, I'm going to really pay attention, right?
So I have it on my channel. I caught this interview. They were talking about earnings, and it was a Yahoo, TD Ameritrade Yahoo, I think Yahoo. And it was a white woman and a black dude, and those are the corresponders, if you guys want to check it out. So she literally says, I guess Palantir and AI was here the whole time, just nobody was paying attention. She said that.
What was this for? What type of interview was this?
Right after earnings.
Oh, right after earnings. Okay.
And she was just shocked. She goes like, I guess this was always here. And she literally said like this, like she's talking, you're the guy, I'm her. And she's like, I guess artificial intelligence was always here and companies always could have done this, but nobody was paying attention, right? And that's what she said. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but she was like shocked. Like, she's like, we never knew this even existed, but Palantir had it the whole time. Yeah, it was Yahoo. Thank you so much. So when you have analysts that are like literally shocked, I mean, this tells you something. Nobody even understands what's coming. And I think Palantir is going to take a lot of cookies. Are they going to have the lion's share? Are they going to, outwork Google and Microsoft? I'm going to tell you no, but it's vice versa as well because they're doing something completely different. Yeah. And I mean, it's going to be freaking huge.
It's so exciting, bro. It's like that's why you and me cover it so much. It's like one of the like what other company is this exciting to cover outside of Tesla? It's like there's just not many. There's really
mean.
If it actually lives up to the potential, if it actually becomes a $40, $50 stock in a couple of years, right, and 5Xs and does what it needs to do, it's gonna be exciting, man.
I mean, dude, this is why I get so angry, and I know so it's so funny. Channels calling out channels for covering Palantir are also covering Palantir and hating on Palantir for the same reasons. They all want clicks and likes, and it's an easy topic, right? Or you guys get what I'm saying. But at the same time, everybody is making fun of Palantir, the make funners, how it's a meme stock and it's a clown stock, and comparing it to Bed Bath & Beyond. And to this, I'm going to say Bed Bath & Beyond is for sure better than Palantir because they have a 3 for $10 special. You buy 2 and you get the third shampoo for free. It's an amazing deal for $10, and it's very hard for Palantir's platform to compete with a 3 for $10 special. It's difficult. So I would say Bed Bath & Beyond is by far more advanced than artificial intelligence for the military at the highest possible level. However, in reality though, listen, impact level 6 clearance, right? There's only 3 companies that have this thing. You don't even to mention the 3. It is what it is. Like, that means something. Palantir being called out specifically from Russia, specifically going to Ukraine, it means something. And to call Palantir a meme stock that doesn't do anything is absolutely insane. When BP buys 1% of Palantir because they don't want Palantir to give Palantir technology to their competitors. When Palantir literally, this is the ex-CEO of BP says, and I'm paraphrasing, but he basically says, yo, our engineers were trying to figure out something for 2 years. Palantir came in and figured it out in a few weeks. After that, all our engineers only wanted to work with Palantir, so we needed to increase our Palantir. So we bought a 1% stake of the company so they don't work against our competitors. And then they reduced their cost by like 50%, right? BP just
from $14 to $6. Sachin was saying if you get it for $22 a barrel, that's a good cost in the industry. You know?
It's absolutely insane because, look, there's such a demand for the ways you're able to extract oil, right? The technology is not all the same. It's not, you just have a TP well, whatever, and you waste so much oil, right? Now it's difficult to get to the oil because everything is dug deep. It's difficult. So You need technology of knowing what works and what does not work. Palantir has this technology across so many different fields. Bro, listen, when me and you started covering Palantir had around 20 different industries on their website. They cover 20 different industries. If you go on the website now, they have 50 plus industries, bro.
Wow.
You feel me? Like, across everything. Like, how can you not appreciate that? They're growing behind the scenes. Maybe their numbers are not growing. Maybe their profitability, and that's the problem. Some people don't look at a story. They don't look at the future possibility. All they look at are the financials right now. The people that only look at the financials right now, the profitable companies, are already too late. Yes, you can still make 20%, 50%, 100% on your money, but you will not be making that 5, 10, 20x possibility. So at the end of the day, you need to make a bet. Are you betting in growth or not?
You know what I think it is, Adam, as well? It's in general, I would say 99.999% of the population is adverse to risk. And Palantir is unknown, right? And so you and me, we're a little bit more general. We're generally a little bit more risk-taking, right? We have some entrepreneurial spirit. So we're like, look, we see an opportunity. It makes sense. Let's go for it. Let's take the risk and let's see. Odds are it doesn't 20x. But that's the whole point of taking a risk. Odds are Tesla was never going to fucking 30, 40x, whatever it did. But if you saw something other people didn't, and then you actually took the risk, that is where you deserve the reward. That's the beauty of America, to take that risk and get the reward. Do you think people are scared of it because they just they can't see that vision, and therefore they can't take that risk?
I'll be honest with you. I think all these people, a lot of them are dumbasses, and they all, not all, let me explain that so people don't take it out of context. I'm learning more and more as I'm doing YouTube that regular media, not just social media, all these analysts, they all follow each other. The other day, you found an analyst report that is copycatting something from 2016. I remember you posted something like that, right? A short report, if I'm not mistaken. Bro, all these 10 influencers that do AI are all saying the same thing. It happens on YouTube too. Everybody copies everybody's shit. I'm realizing that it's an echo chamber. So if more people, the majority are pushing positive, it's going to be a positive echo chamber, and vice versa with the negative. So I think that's what's happening. I think very few people are going to understand what Palantir does. And very few people, bro, I wish you could put a poll. Please put a poll up. Ask your audience how many people use AI on a daily basis. And the AI is going to be ChatGPT or Bard, right? Or equivalent, something high level like that. Not like some correct my spelling, like high level. And the question is, do you or do you not use this more than 3 times a week consistently? I want to know the answer. I guarantee you, overwhelmingly, people do not use these apps. They don't use these tools. So if you're an investor in Palantir, or you want to invest in Palantir, but you're not using these AI tools that are readily available to you, how are you possibly going to understand the full potential of Palantir and AIP? You cannot. Just like me and you are in another level of understanding this AI because we use it on a daily basis. I know you use it. I can tell when you use it. Yeah. Right? Like I could tell things already. Like how many times do I call you? I'm like, I know what you're doing with this, you know, like I'm not going to like, right? And that's a positive thing. It's good. You're learning. You're evolving. So if you understand the power of this, then you're going to understand the power of Palantir. That's my personal opinion. There you go. But it makes it, broski, but it makes it, that works too. But you understand the power of it then, right? So you understand the power of it. So somebody like you can understand the power of Palantir, putting that power in Fortune 500 companies. But if you didn't use it to cheat, what do you think? You think these companies don't cheat? You think these companies are taking out calculators? No. They have computers that are coming up with, mega
Especially
formulas.
engineers that are using it to code.
100%. 100%. Bro, the person that just said I use it to cheat, you're not using it to cheat. You're using your mind to get ahead. Cheating is not inherently bad. I'm just going to let people know this. Cheating is
100%.
not
Oh, I
inherently
agree with
bad.
that. We could talk about this for hours, bro. I agree with you so much.
If you have the mental capabilities and the mental capacity to do things better that takes less effort, you might be called a cheat in school. However, you will be called a success in life.
Especially when the type of work that is being rewarded is memorization and regurgitation. Like, that's why in college I was like, bro, I'm not memorizing this shit. I'm gonna cheat because it has no impact on my life. And and so I moved on, and that creativity allowed me to do a lot of the things I'm doing today. But the people who stayed and memorized everything all night and then they regurgitated, like they're fucking working at JP Morgan and they hate their lives.
Guys, please, we have 341 people. Ahmed's going to ring the bell, but we only have 63 people that voted. Please, do me a favor. Really, take a moment. Please vote on the poll. Like, take 2 seconds. This is very important.
It's 61% no, 39% yes. So
please, guys, please go vote. Like, take a moment. This is very important. I'll make a video on this, so will Ahmed later. Like, this is information. And this is going to be a small, thank you guys, I see the numbers going up. This is going to be a small representation of the populace. So if we that support Palantir, like we're all about AI, Google, Microsoft, Palantir, right? And fuck Snowflake. But we don't use AI every day. How can we expect society to understand the power of Palantir? Just like that reporter was like, I guess this existed. We just didn't know. Like, bro.
It's such a good point. If we don't use it every day, how can we expect the world to understand how they use it? It's when in 2021, when they said data-driven insights, I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm going to invest in it, but I didn't really get it. And then when this scale AI motherfucker came out, he's like, we need to help people understand data from their, insights. I'm like, oh, so this is a real industry. Like, this is not just a joke of data-driven insights. Like, everyone's trying to figure out how to sift through piles and piles of data and give you insights using AI. And then it's just a question of which is the best one. And I would say it's Palantir.
I'm sorry, I'm just doing a shameless plug, guys. Please give me a follow.
No, of course. Yeah, we're going to put everything in the description. I put your Twitter in the chat. I'm going to put it again one more time. Chris says, I tried to use Bard for financial modeling, unfortunately. Yeah, Bard is still giving a lot of weird shit in terms of answers, but I think that's just Google figuring out how to make them.
Can I give you guys a suggestion? Yeah, 100%. Shout out to Chris, by the way. But let me show you guys how to stack something without being a Twitter influencer. It's very simple, guys. Very, very simple. ChatGPT is a tool that allows you to do writing, modules, coding, things like that. It's a tool that allows you to make yourself extremely efficient. It makes you from a mediocre in something to a professional or semi-pro in something. Just remember that. With limitations of, it has a mind. That mind's cut off in 2021.
Yep.
Now you can feed it information, but it doesn't know anything. And it doesn't really use internet to find things. It just knows things, right? It's a very, very smart program that just knows things. Bard is not as smart. If ChatGPT was a university PhD professor, Bard would be a really good high school teacher.
Yes.
A really good high school teacher.
Yes.
But there is a difference. Now, Bard, on the other hand, can look at the internet instantly and get you anything. So, when I want to put information to ChatGPT, I cannot give it a link. I cannot give it a chart. However, Bard can find anything I need. So, for example, if I have financials, and I'll say I can't copy the financials into ChatGPT, I'm going to say, hey, Bard, on page 14 and 15 of this link, there's financials. Can you please reword that for me in verbiage?
Yep.
They will literally give me the whole thing. Then I take that and put it into ChatGPT. When I put that into ChatGPT, now ChatGPT is going to do a far better job than Bard can do. Then whatever ChatGPT does, I put into Bard and say, hey, can you double check this and tell me what you think? Can you add something? They will. Then I go back to ChatGPT, and now I have something that is astronomically good, like ridiculously good. Like, very few people in the world have the capabilities to do that, what I just did with AI. And it took me 30 minutes because I know how to use these tools. It's just applications of tools. And if I stack it with other AIs, which I'll keep to myself right now, I am infinitely better. I started to walk away from my YouTube, and I'm now working more on some other businesses. I use my AI daily. And this is me, a small one person, right? The possibilities for a business is ridiculous, ridiculous. I know many people on corporate levels that are using ChatGPT, and one problem with that is that they're getting in trouble. Like, not everybody, but some people are getting in trouble because they keep the information. There is a huge need for this. So people are now using ChatGPT on personal emails instead of corporate emails, which is the solution of getting around that. However, all of these programs are not going to be as good as AIP.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be very interesting to see kind of how this turns out. And I think you have a great point. Tesla hitting 170, by the way, of if we're not using it in our daily lives, how can we really understand the value it can do to businesses? So people should be using it a lot more if they're investing in these companies. Seeing what we do. Palantir at 949, 950. That's going to be it for the market open. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Adam, people are saying we got to have you every week, at least once a week. So you might have to be a regular. You have to.
Who said that?
There's a
I
bunch
didn't
of
see a single person.
Adam once a week.
Philippe, you can monetize AI. It is not difficult at all. There is mad ways to make money on AI. Seriously, 100%. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm just going to put your channel in the chat. We have Finance 411. Please, everyone, give him a subscribe, give him a follow. He's a really good friend of the channel, and he obviously knows a lot of what the fuck he's talking about. And yeah, we'll keep going forward. A lot more Palantir news to discuss. We'll keep talking. Thank you, Adam, for being on. I'll see you guys all tomorrow on the market open. Good night, everybody.